You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW. Let us surprise you.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, JoAnn Crone. Hello to all of my Lolas. How are you? Gosh, today we start part 2 of our yelling series. Last time we talked about why you keep yelling, even though you know it's not something you want to do. Like you promised yourself you'd stop. And the big reframe was this. Yelling is not a character flaw. There's not something wrong with you. It is a signal that you're already at your max. Your nervous system is already in threat mode. And that yelling system means it's just overflowing. That is when the yell comes out. So if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, it aired 2 episodes ago, last Thursday. So go back and start there. It is called Why You Keep Yelling Even When You Promised You'd Stop. And it's the foundation for everything that we are talking about today. Because today we're going into the body. Yeah, because here's what I learned. Your body actually starts the yelling before your brain even has a chance, even has an inkling of what is up. By the time you feel the urge to yell, your nervous system's already been escalating for minutes, if not hours, from the stress of your day. So I'm going to give you the tools to catch it earlier. And it's not just breathing tools. We're actually going into some physical mechanics issues, stuff that I wish I had known earlier, that I wish my medical provider had told me earlier. So this is a must listen if you feel like you can't control your temper. And this is the part that I really, really want you to hear. I want you to understand why the breathing and everything might not be working for you. So with that, let's get on with the show. If you listen to this past Tuesday's episode with Jenna Free, it was just 1 episode ago, you already got a head start on today because Jenna said something that stuck with me. And as soon as I interviewed her, I was like telling all my inner circle members about this as well. She talked about noticing whether you're rushing. Not just physically rushing, like running from room to room, but that internal rushing feeling. You know, that feeling that you don't have enough time to do what you need to get done, that you're already going 100 miles an hour and you cannot slow yourself down. I was just in a book study with ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation. And we were talking about the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And this is a key chapter in it about time and your relationship with time. Because when you feel that time controls you, you're going to be stressed all the time. You're never going to find enough time to do the things that you actually want to do. And you're going to constantly use time as an excuse. So if right now you're saying things to yourself like, I don't have enough time for that. Oh, maybe we can meet when I have the time. Maybe I will pursue that thing I really wanted to pursue that excites me when I have the time. You, my friend, are acting as a slave of time. And when you do that, you give up your control, you give up your power, and you also feel like you are rushing all the time. A key reframe in that book, The Big Leap, is that you are the creator of your time. And there's a really great example that has to do with kids. If your child comes in and interrupts you while you're working and they're like, can you play with me? And you say something like, no, I don't have the time right now to play with you. What if your child came in and they had accidentally stepped on a nail and their foot was bleeding? Would you still not have the time? You would. You would have the time. You would make the time for it because time is just a perception. It is an idea that we have in our minds, and we use it so much as an excuse that we forget that we actually have the control over our time. In the case of your kid, you just don't want to play with them right now. An equally polite answer to them would be, I really want to get this project done first, but we can play like when I get this done. Completely polite, completely nice, not using time as your excuse. I just wanted to put that in front of you because I think that once you're able to break the hold that time has on you, you're able to stop the rushing. You're able to relax a little bit more, and you're able to control your body and your reactions. Because when you're already at a 7 out of 10 because you don't feel like you have enough time, it doesn't take much to push you to a yell. It doesn't take much at all. So the first thing that I want you to do is what Jenna taught us. Notice if you're rushing. Just notice. Because awareness is always the first tool. Here at No Guilt Mom, we don't expect perfection. We just expect awareness because it brings you so much in terms of calm in your body when you're just aware of what's going on. So if you missed Tuesday's episode with Jenna Free, go back and listen. It's the one before this one. It's so good. So good. And now let's get into some of the tools that you could use. Now, this tool I'm going to teach you is not something that you use in the moment. It is not an in the moment yelling fix. It is something that you use when you are aware that you are rushing, when you are aware that you are stressed. If you try to use this right before you yell, like it's not going to work. First of all, it's usually impossible to catch yourself the minute you're going to yell. It is. And I want you to know that because at that time, your body is so amped up that there is no stopping that train. There's no stopping it. That's why we have to stop it earlier. We have to do it when we notice that you're rushing. And I want to be clear about something before I teach this, okay? This is not something to do in the middle of a meltdown either. Your kids nor your own. You're not going to be standing in the kitchen with your kids screaming and think, let me just do this breathing exercise that I learned on the No Guilt Mom podcast from JoAnn. No, it's not going to happen. That's not how this works. But breathing is a practice and you do it in the calm moments or the slightly elevated moments, slightly, so that your body learns what calm actually feels like. Do you feel like you know what calm actually feels like? Get ready. You are, because you're going to do this with me, okay? Promise you'll do this with me. Because once you get this feeling and you practice it, you will know when you are triggered. You will know when you get out of it. And you'll be able to identify it that much faster. So you ready? We are going to we're going to practice box breathing. And the reason it's called that is because you're kind of drawing a little box in the air. And if you're watching me on YouTube right now, you're going to be able to see this. So I'm going to give you an overview of it first, and then I want you to practice it with me. So what happens is we breathe in for a count of 3. We hold for a count of 3. We breathe out for a count of 3, and we hold for a count of 3. Now, on YouTube, you just saw me draw a box in the air with each of those instructions. And then we repeat it 3 to 4 times. So I'm going to lead you in it. Wherever you are, just please make sure you're not driving. Pull over to the side of the road or pause this podcast until you can, because you don't want to be distracted with other cars barreling towards you. Don't do it. Here we go. Put your feet on the floor. Make sure you're in a comfortable position. And I want you to breathe in for the count of 3. Ready? Breathe in. Hold it. Breathe out. Hold it. 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 Go back to your normal breath. How's that feel? just doing it with you, like, I feel like my voice has deepened a little bit every time I get a little bit more relaxed. I feel my shoulders have dropped. What are you feeling right now in your body? Maybe you feel a little bit fuzzy headed from that breathing. It's so interesting how we have a tendency to hold our breaths when we're rushing and we're trying to get everywhere, that we rarely experience these moments of just breathing and making sure that we get the oxygen we need. Now, if you catch yourself early enough before you're fully activated, you can use box breathing to slow the escalation, to give yourself that time out. And that's where Jenna's rushing cue comes in. If you notice you're rushing, if you catch yourself at a 5 or a 6 before you hit that 10, that's your window. Step away if you can, even for just 60 seconds, and do your box breathing. But you have to catch it early. By the time you're already yelling, remember that train is already barreling down the tracks. Can't stop it. We are working on catching that train at the platform. So now you have one little tool to use for your yelling. However, what if the tools just aren't working? What if your yelling is just this uncontrollable urge that no amount of breathing, no amount of stopping, no amount of like creating that pause helps? You know that thing where you're doing all the right things, eating your veggies, getting your kids to actually eat theirs, staying hydrated, and you still feel kind of off? Yeah, me too. Turns out most of us have small nutrient gaps we don't even know about. And with our packed schedules, it's honestly really hard to cover all the bases through food alone. That's what led me to First Day. And honestly, it has become one of my favorite parts of the morning. I actually look forward to taking my vitamins, which, if you know me and how many supplements I take, it's saying a lot. They are so good and I never forget them. No nagging myself, no skipping, just 2 gummies and done. What I love most is that they actually make different formulas for toddlers, kids, teens, and adults. So it's tailored to your stage of life. It's a blend of 21 organic superfoods and 9 key vitamins with no added sugars, no artificial dyes, nothing sketchy. They test for 200 plus toxins and have the Clean Label Purity Award, so you feel really good about what you're giving your family. Over 1 million families have already started using First Day, and they back it with a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there's zero risk. For a limited time only, our listeners are getting an insane deal. Use code NGM to get up to 57% off at firstday.com. That's up to 57% off and a free gift with code NGM at firstday.com. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. One thing experts and parents tend to agree on is that learning to swim isn't just about strokes. It's about confidence, safety, and consistency. Goldfish Swim School takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water. And honestly, that tracks with everything we talk about on this show. Kids grow when they feel safe, supported, and not rushed. Goldfish gets that. They use something called the science of swim play, which blends guided play with proven teaching techniques so kids build real water safety skills at their own pace. Their pools are warm, the spaces are designed with kids in mind, and every single lesson has a certified lifeguard on deck. Every one. They offer lessons for kids from 4 months old through 12 years, and their app makes scheduling and makeups actually doable for busy families. If you're ready to take the next step, Goldfish Swim School has a special offer just for listeners. Waived membership and your first lesson free at participating locations. Head to goldfishswimschool.com/free. Find your local school and use promo code FREE to enroll. It's an easy way to get started with lessons that focus on safety and confidence and real progress in the water. Okay, so summer is basically knocking on the door, and all I want to do is plan a fun family trip without that little voice in the back of my head going, can we actually afford this? You know that voice. We all know that voice. Monarch is the personal finance app that tracks everything: accounts, investments, savings goals, and spending. Get your first year of Monarch Core for half off, just $50 with promo code NOGUILT. So my husband and I started using it, and honestly, that moment of clarity was when it surfaced every single one of our recurring expenses, subscriptions I'd completely forgotten about, things I had to hunt down the email addresses for just to cancel. It even helped us start thinking seriously about when my husband can retire. And my favorite feature, the AI weekly recap. It flags spending spikes, net worth shifts, and upcoming expenses so nothing sneaks up on you. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket, but without the awkward small talk. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. Now, what I'm going to share next is my personal experience, and it is not intended to be medical advice. I am not a doctor. This is meant to bring awareness to something that might be worth researching or discussing with your own doctor, because I wish that someone had normalized this for me and pointed me in this direction so much sooner. Because I want to talk about something that doesn't come up enough in parenting conversations among women. And it's this, it's hormones. Now, I feel like hormones are getting more visibility lately. Like there's more people trying it out. There's more people realizing that, hey, maybe the issue isn't me. Maybe there's something going on internally that's completely natural and normal and expected at this age. And there's nothing weird or wrong about me, and I'm not dying. Yeah, guys, I went through all of those feelings. I honestly felt like I was going crazy. I started this and looking into hormones 2 places. First, I am a big Armchair Expert fan, the podcast with Dax Shepard and Monica. I love it. And they had a guest on named Dr. Mary Claire Haver. And she did an episode on menopause and perimenopause that like genuinely made me look at the whole situation so much more differently. And then I had Dr. Jane Morgan, who is a cardiologist. She was an expert speaker on the Happy Mom Summit. And between those 2 conversations, something clicked. And let me tell you exactly what that was. So with Dr. Jane Morgan, the interview that really did it for me is she was saying how estrogen is actually a protective factor in your body. And you know, as you go into perimenopause, as you get older, your levels of estrogen decrease. And they also vary pretty widely. Like they go up and down during your cycle, creating these huge changes in moods, in ability to handle things. And it starts so much earlier than we've been led to believe. Like for years, we thought like, oh, menopause, I don't have to worry about that until I'm in my 50s. Guys, I started having these symptoms when I was 35. And my first symptoms was I started getting migraines, massive headaches that I could time to the exact day of my period. Like I would have a menstrual migraine that would totally knock me out the day before my period. And I knew whenever that migraine came, it was like, period, next day. And I was right. Or it came right in the mid-cycle, right during ovulation. And if you're getting headaches and pains like that, and you could time it to your cycle, there's a chance that it might be hormone related. Now, the other thing that I do want to mention out there, because no one told me this was normal, I really thought I was dying. It doesn't have too much to do with yelling. But at 35, I also began spotting between my periods, like just a brown spot, like right around ovulation. Also had to do with hormonal changes. Didn't know that was normal. It wasn't a normal thing. Now, here's the thing that I didn't know. I thought this was something I just had to deal with. I thought, oh, I will just take the migraine medication during this time, and I will just suffer through yet another migraine. It was never told to me until I started asking questions that you could just prevent this whole menstrual migraine to begin with if we just work on like maintaining your hormones. I was like, what? And this is what Dr. Jane Morgan said in the interview. She's like, so many times women have these complaints to doctors. This complaint about a stiff shoulder, this complaint about more anxiety, complain about not being able to get enough sleep, waking up in the middle of the night and never being able to get back to sleep. All of those doctors just give to treat the symptoms typically. They're like, here's a sleeping aid. Here's some anti-inflammatories for your shoulder. Here's some anxiety medication to cure that. When the underlying factor is typically estrogen. It's the hormone. And once you fix that, all those symptoms go away. You don't need to be taking a million drugs. And I say you don't mean to be taking a million drugs, giving my non-medical expert opinion. Remember this. It's my non-medical expert opinion. This is just my experience and what I have also gleaned from other experts. If you just fix the estrogen. And so this combined with Dr. Mary Claire Haver saying the exact same thing and also talking about hormone replacement therapy, which is how you fix the estrogen, and how hormone replacement therapy was given such a bad rap for so long because of one study that only included 12 women that said that 2 out of those 12 women got cancer from hormone replacement therapy. Now, did they really get cancer because of hormone replacement therapy, or did they get cancer because they were like, it was such a small sample and people get cancer? No one knew because it was 12 people. And since then, hormone replacement therapy has been shown not to have those effects. And even I asked my doctor about it and she's like, yeah, if someone develops breast cancer while on hormone replacement therapy, there are steps you could take to then minimize the amount of hormones in the body right away so that you're not stuck with it. Now, I just want to give you my personal experience with it because what I chose to do is I chose to do pellets. And what pellets are is I go in for my appointment every 3 months and my doctor makes a little incision in my buttocks. It sounds like a funny word, right? Buttocks. Makes a little incision. I don't feel it because she gives me a lidocaine shot right before. In fact, the shot hurts more than the incision. I don't even feel the incision. Little incision, puts 2 little pellets in. And what I have is I have a little estrogen, I have a little testosterone based on my blood work, based on what I need, and also based on my symptoms. And it stays in my body until I re-up it in 3 months. What has happened is that my migraines have completely gone away. I do not get them anymore. And my energy has gone up because a lot of times too, when women's estrogen decreases, their testosterone also decreases. And so just putting in a little bit of testosterone gives you that energy to get through your day where you're not grabbing a sugary sweet or a snack at 3 p.m. because you're just exhausted. There's also other benefits to having testosterone. One of the non-benefits is that I bought the full face wax pass at European Wax Center because I get chin hairs. I hate them, but it's not an unreasonable thing to deal with. I know how to take care of them. But as an extra side effect, I have had more hair grow on the top of my head where my hair was thinning before, mostly due to medication I have to take for my ulcerative colitis condition, which is a totally other issue. But having that has increased my quality of life so much more. And the other thing that I have to take because of the estrogen being put in my body is progesterone. If you don't take progesterone with estrogen, your uterine lining builds up to an unhealthy amount. And progesterone helps you sleep. There are so many women I coach where we have the progesterone conversation if they are entering perimenopause. Because, for example, I have been on progesterone now for over a year that I've done a hormone replacement therapy. And I was starting to wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to fall back asleep. And this is something that really hasn't happened to me in my life. And so I told my provider, oh, this is happening. And she's like, okay, it might be time to increase your progesterone. And we did. And I'm sleeping like a baby again. And I don't think many women can say that. I think that you just accept that you have to live like this. You have to live in this depleted sleep state. You have to live with these extra aches and pains. You don't. I can tell you that you could sleep really, really well just by having a conversation with a provider who understands hormones and is able to help you in that path. So if you're yelling right now, if you feel like it's because you are just way too tired because you're not sleeping at night, or you're just experiencing so much anxiety and so much pain, it might be an underlying hormone issue that I don't feel enough women get told about. So this is why I am telling you here right now, have a conversation with your doctor about hormones. Because if somatic tools aren't working for you, it is not you. And when I say somatic, I mean like things that you do intentionally with your body, like breath work or meditation or mindfulness. Those are somatic tools. It's not you if they're not working. There's something else going on. And that something else going on can absolutely be fixed.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come step into centuries of history that await in Scotland. Castles steeped in legend walk along cobblestone streets. Come share the warmth of stories passed down through generations. This is a place with a past that is fully present today and all yours to explore. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Did you know if your windows are bare, indoor temperatures can go up 20 degrees? Turn the temperature down with Blinds.com and get up to 50% off custom window treatments like solar roller shades and more during the Memorial Day mega sale. Whether you want to DIY it or have a pro handle everything, we've got you. Free samples, real design experts, and zero pressure. Just help when you need it. This is your last chance to shop up to 50% off site-wide during the Memorial Day mega sale at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
Another thing to talk about going on in your body is the neurodiversity piece. There was an interesting article I just read this past weekend in the Attitude. I don't ever know how to pronounce that. It's ADD Etude. It's an online news source for ADD, ADHD. And it says that women with ADHD tend to experience perimenopausal symptoms 10 years earlier than the normal population. 10 years. So if you are a woman with ADHD and you're like, I'm too young for this, you may not be. I'm going to link that article too to the show notes in this episode so you can go and check it out yourself, because it is fascinating, as has explained so much in my life. But the thing that I want to put on your radar is that if you have neurodiversity, ADHD, autism, you may not even know it, first of all, because women don't know they have it because they present differently than men. And it's been the men for the longest time who have been studied for these things. The research and the diagnostic criteria were built around how ADHD and autism looks in boys. I mean, stick with that a little bit, if you will. After our big conversation about hormones and then seeing how neurodiversity, your doctor is checking you against something for a boy. Yeah. So a lot of women have gone their whole lives without anyone connecting the dots, or without saying, hey, this is affecting me, and getting diagnosed. Because we've been told that it's not ADHD, it's not autism, because here's the criteria and you don't match it. Well, friend, you might. You might. Because here's what matters with the yelling. If you are dealing with this neurodiversity and you have this sensory overwhelm, and the noise and the chaos and the physical stimulation of parenting sends you into a rage that feels completely out of proportion to what just happened, that's not a patience problem. It just might be your nervous system is genuinely processing sensory input differently. And if that's the case, somatic techniques alone are not going to work. You might need support that's specifically designed for how your brain works. And remember at the beginning of this episode, I told you it's about awareness. It's not about perfection, right? Awareness, not perfection. I have to say that one of the kind of like comorbidities, I would say, it's a symptom of ADHD. It's called rejection sensitivity dysphoria, RSD. And it's where you feel rejection deeply in your body. You have almost like an illogical response to rejection. I can tell you that over this past weekend, I set a boundary with my son about food. He's 12 years old and he didn't want to come eat at the restaurant we were eating at. And I said, okay, well, then you're eating at home. And he got mad at me. He gave me the silent treatment. And you think like, oh, it's just a little thing, JoAnn, just brush it off. No, I felt that rejection deeply in my body. I feel like I'm going to die when I get rejection. Like I can't physically handle it. My throat gets tight. My chest gets tight. I want to cry. I feel like I am unworthy of love because of that feeling. And I think it's why so many have trouble also setting those boundaries and saying no to people is when you don't know that this is your body's reaction to rejection. And this is how your body's interpreting it. You might interpret those body signals as fact, as this meaning that you're doing something wrong, that you are severing connection with your child when you're doing it, when really that's not the case at all. It is just that you feel rejection so deeply in your body. Knowing that has helped keep me calm. Because now when I feel that rejection, I'm like, okay, this is RSD. I just need to take care of myself right now. I took a little bit of time. I went to the gym. I find that working out really helps me deal with those like bodily sensations and feelings. And I was okay like 3 or 4 hours later. My son was okay too. He was back to talking to me again. So I want to put that out there. If you have sensory overwhelm and you feel rejection deep in your body, you will definitely have those reactions. And the key is knowing that you have that reaction, that RSD, those big feelings toward rejection, because if you're not aware of it, it'll come out. It'll come out and you will be yelling at your kids. You will be freaking out at your friends. It'll come out. And that awareness, that lack of awareness rather, that's what ruins relationships. That's what ruins it. Not the fact that you have it, the lack of awareness and actively trying to do something about it. So if you have felt broken by like all of the things with somatic techniques and the breathing, and every time you see a reel on TikTok or Instagram that's like, you should just breathe before you yell and it just doesn't work for you, this may be what's going on. This may be. So I've given you some ways about what you can do in your body to prevent yourself from yelling. The first one is notice if you're rushing. That is your body's early warning signal where you still have the control and logical thought where you can stop and do something about that. Thank you, Jenna Free, for that. Her episode is right before this one. And then we discussed box breathing, and you practiced that box breathing and you learned what your nervous system felt like to feel calm. And I want you to keep practicing that in really quiet moments just to feel that calm, to know what it feels like. And if the tools aren't working, it might not be you. It might be hormones or neurodiversity or biology that's worth investigating. And I say this, investigate it, because you have a whole world out there for you to explore, and you deserve to have the best relationships and best life possible. Free of the guilt from yelling. So next week is part 3, and this might be my favorite one because we're talking about what happens after you yell, because sometimes you just can't avoid it. You can do all of the things and it still comes out, because here's what I believe. The repair is actually where the relationship gets built. If you can be really good at repair, you could have incredibly strong relationships that it doesn't matter if you yell once or twice. It's okay because the other person will feel supported in your repair. You will feel supported. I'm going to give you the exact words to say to your child after you lose it. And I'm going to show you why rupture and repair done well actually creates a stronger bond than if the yelling had never happened. You do not want to miss this one. And hey, if you're listening on Spotify, hit that follow button right now. It's the best way to make sure part 3 lands in your feed next week. And it helps me reach more moms like you. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please hit that subscribe button. Remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you, and I'll talk with you later.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.